I can't believe it, man. Can you believe it? Can you believe football is freaking happening tomorrow, y'all? Fall Camp Eve. Right now, man. Right now. Players are going to bed tonight and waking up tomorrow and hitting the practice field. It's insane. Tomorrow, College Station, Texas, Aggie Land. Players take the field and they start their 2025 campaign. Marcel Reed leading that offense, full of excitement, veteran experience all across that offensive line. He looks to make his stamp as an SEC starter from day one. And that's probably the premier talking point of fall camp, but defense ushering in a new guard of defensive linemen, dudes stepping up, new faces, new transfers, exciting pieces. Others look to take the next step, defensive back room. You got all your leaders back. You got a bunch of veterans out there. You got a bunch of freaking seniors out there, man. Angry, motivated about how last season went. I bet you Tyreek Chappelle has a chip on his shoulder this year, pissed off about missing last year. He was poised to have a great year last year, and storylines like that, Bryce Anderson, Dalton Brooks, ready to go. And a linebacker group that could go toe-to-toe, in my opinion, with any in the conference. Troy right here saying Scooby's going to win the freaking butt kiss. So many possibilities. And a little bit of a different feel this fall camp. I spoke to this briefly in the video that I just dropped, the full fall camp preview, if I want to check that out to get into the details of the position groups. But I wanted to emphasize the fact that I think this year's camp does feel a little different, and it's so easy to say, this year feels different. This is the year, man. It's different than before. But I think there was a little bit more anxiety in previous fall camps. You're not scrambling in a year one like you were last year. You're not wondering how you're going to rebound after a 5-7 year like you were the year before. You're not wondering who quarterback one is. You don't have these gigantic question marks amongst the starting ranks of your team. You come in with familiarity. Familiarity in personnel. Familiarity with your strengths as a team. You know we're going to be a strong running team. You know we have pieces at receiver, at least a few of them that we know of now, but probably more to emerge. You know you have veteran leadership on this defense. You have identity and familiarity with your coaching staff as a whole. It's a little bit less uncertainty than we've had in a long time heading into a season. But with a core that went 8-4 last year, the running joke, the gag, we hit it. Texas 8-4, it freaking happened last year, and you got to take that same troop of guys and elevate that to the next level this year. 9 wins, 10 wins. It's been oh so elusive in Aggie Land in recent years. But now you try to overcome that. Now you take that next step with a more difficult schedule. Can this team not only improve, but get so good that they're not struggling on the road versus Notre Dame? That traveling to Death Valley, that's not just a death sentence like it was in previous years. Or even closing the year on the road in Austin, Texas. Their iteration of the rivalry renewed. We had it last year. Now it's their turn. Can we go spoil that party for them just like they did to us? It's going to be a hell of a hurdle to overcome. But I feel like this team has some ingredients to do it, man. It all starts now. Guys, welcome back to the live show. And what better time to have one than the night before fall camp? We had pressers today, and I wanted to get into what Mike Elko mentioned today. He opened the presser saying, not too much new news. Nothing too crazy. Nothing groundbreaking. But I honestly felt like some things he said were a joy to hear. All Aggies were thrilled to hear some of his nuggets today. So I want to talk about some of those things. I also wanted to address Marcel Reed, just great at the podium, all of his poise. He talks like a coach's son. That you hear that when he speaks. But he did say something that made a couple Aggies nervous, and I definitely wanted to address that. Maybe the offense doesn't look so different than it did last year. That was something that Marcel Reed talked about, and I wanted to get into that. But first, let's say what's up to everybody that's here today. I see a lot of familiar faces in here. I see Jeb. You doing a beer chug tonight for the 3,000 subs? We did hit 3,000 subs, but the beer chug will not happen tonight. It'll happen before the season starts, though. I'm thinking maybe the week before the season. We do like a celebratory ring dunk on the channel. I think that'd be pretty fun. Why am I not in focus here? I need to be nice and crispy. There we go. Noble Guy, 3,000 followers. Yes, sir, 3,000. We hit it. Here's to 4K. Let's go, man. Let's keep growing this thing. I'm not stopping. As long as I'm obsessed with Aggie football, I'm going to keep making videos and sharing that with y'all because I know y'all feel the same way. And I thought about this shit way too much before I made the channel, and now I actually have an outlet to talk about it. So that's great, and I'm happy to share it with you guys, and I'll keep doing it. Noah Two Wavy, good to see you. Franklin, good to see you. Who else is in here today? Hans, Aggie Banter. Yes, Jake, I'm sure. I'm sure you are. Need more CFB 26? I've been wanting to play it, man. I'm just trying to find time because every time I have a free evening, I'm making videos right now, and those extend deep into the late hours of the night. Like I'm up till 2 making these videos. So we'll try to fit some in the coming days. I think I'll have some time this weekend. I thought so last week and it didn't happen, but there's more CFB 26 on the horizon. We're going to take A&M to the streets. I'm going to play you guys, Cooper. We got to get a rematch going. Troy, good to see you. Bro is vibing right now. Dude, when you get that drum chorus going, the eve of fall camp, I thought about that earlier today. I was like, I want to play that today. It feels right, man. It feels right. Scooby giving the butt kiss. I love it, man. Why the hell not? What's up, Brian? Only coffee, Jake. Only coffee. I do chug caffeine before the show, but we don't go that far, Jake. Look at us now. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Preach. I was preaching, dude. I was feeling it. I was feeling just talking about it, man. I'm trying real hard. Like, obviously, it is so easy to be so excited this time of year. Everybody is freaking... Vandy has possibilities. Auburn has possibilities. I mean, everybody... The world is everybody's oyster right now. But... just compared to years past when you had so much uncertainty, at least that aspect feels better. And we could go down 8-4 again. But I have a feeling you're not going to have these nasty collapses. You're not going to have these weird busts consistently in the secondary. You're not going to have a lackluster passing game. I think you'll be much more balanced and much more happy with the on-field product. But the season does get harder. I did call us going 8-4 last year, but the month of November still calls us. I had us 9-3, man, and we were so close in that Auburn game. And the Notre Dame game bothers me. Maybe an injury away from hitting that. Jay Paul, good to see you, man. Marcel cut off some of his hair. Yeah, he posted that a couple of weeks ago on social. He's going with the short hair this year. I like it. Locking in. Can you believe that Marcel is only 182 pounds? We will address that today. We will address that. But guys, thanks for being here. Make sure you drop a like, drop a sub if you haven't subscribed yet. What's up, Ebone Cabone? Yeah, type into the chat, guys. I want to hear from you. What are your biggest fall camp storylines that you're following this year? What are the biggest stress points on the team? What are the biggest developmental areas on the team? I think we can all agree that it's secondary. It's the back end of that D tackle rotation. It's breaking in a lot of new faces at the D line. A lot of guys, if y'all watch my video, I'm very excited, especially about this defensive end room. Deion Hayes, Rylan Kennedy, who we heard a little bit about today in the presser, but we'll talk about in just a second. Marco Jones could splash onto the scene. TJ Searcy, and of course Cassius Howell. I love the ingredients there, but you got to marry it all together. You got to be a unit. You can't just be individuals, and that's what fall camp is all about. And you can look at the offense. Colin Klein, building this thing with a lot of new characters, a lot of options, a lot of players with specific skill sets, especially in the pass catching department. You have a bunch of slot-looking guys at the top of that thing, Bussy, Craver, Concepcion, but you have some big guys as well. Jerome Miles, an Amari Niblack, who I think is basically a giant receiver for A&M. How is he going to build this thing out? What are his go-tos in specific scenarios? How does this thing look? And of course, all of it's built from Marcel at the top. And we'll address that shortly. But first, let's start with Mike Elko. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We're going to go right into the presser today, where we heard some interesting nuggets. And I'll just I'll let the man speak first, and we'll address everything as we go.
At our event on Saturday, you mentioned, I think, is that Rylan Kennedy had added like 100 pounds of strength.
Yep.
I guess it's a two-part question. First of all, anybody else that comes off the top of your mind have made significant gains along those lines? And secondly, we hear about offensive linemen and other guys being better in their second year under a coach. Does that also apply to the strength and conditioning?
Yeah, I think so. I think to your second question first, I think just like coaching, there's a foundation of what training looks like, and there's a conditioning level, and there's a level at which you can push the body that, quite honestly, we weren't real good when we started in year one. And some of you guys were out here during winter workouts in the early stages when we got here, and our capacity to work was not real high. And so then because of that, you feel like you're playing catch up all the way through the winter, all the way through the summer, and you build it to the best you can. And then you come back in year two, and that strength and conditioning capacity starts at a higher level. And again, that leads to growth beyond. And so, I think that's really, really good. I think some of the other guys that have stood out Cassius Howell had a really strong summer. His body looks really, really good. Marcus Radcliffe, I think, has really done a phenomenal job in the weight room. Really excited about him. And then you just even go down to like some young kids. I was talking to TK Norman the other day. Like TK Norman has put on 20 pounds and all kinds of muscle. That's 20 pounds of body weight since he got here. He showed up at 165. He's 185 right now. And so I think when you look at some of those things, everybody says this, right? And so I don't want to be cliche, but we're a bigger, faster, stronger team. Now we got to go play football, and we got to play football well.
And something I don't think that I specifically address enough, and something that has been in the forefront the whole time, off season, during the season, is that now we're getting into year 2 of not only Mike Elko, not only his coaching staff, but of Tommy Moffitt. And think about how decorated and praised that hire was when he came in. Think about all of his accomplishments at LSU. Think about how his Moffitt method has permeated the college football landscape. Many programs adopting his methodologies because it's been so successful in developing players physically. You get 2 years of that built up now. 2 full off seasons. I think 2 winters now as well, including the summer. 2 springs. And I expect that to pay dividends this year. Now, to what end, we'll see. We've heard all offseason and all through this talking season cycle that finishing your play, finishing your games, finishing your season is the number one mantra of this football team. And I think the training and the growth facilitated by Tommy Moffitt plays a key role in that. And you're getting some specific examples here, some off-season darlings. I would guess this is the tippity top, the cream of the crop in terms of like the off-season transformations. But Rylan Kennedy, man, done nothing but grow since he stepped onto campus. I think he came in like 215, 220. He was 240 last year. I'd be curious to see what he's listed at now. If they do an update after today's check-in, there might be a weight update after they checked in today because I think they have to go through physicals and stuff. But to hear him be one of the big gainers this offseason, 100 pounds of weight room strength is nothing to scoff at. That's probably the tracked weights, which is probably squat, clean, and bench. Those are probably the big 3. But there's probably other stuff in there too. But just to hear him at the top of that list, hear that he was mentioned in the Texags kickoff party or whatever Elko speaks in for Texags before, as OB alluded to in the questioning here, that's huge. Because you're replacing some stars at defensive end, and Rylan Kennedy is one of those guys who's going to have a role this year. And that just adds to that, depth you have at defensive end that I'm very excited about. Of course, you're breaking new faces in. He also mentioned Cassius Howell as an offseason darling. Cassius Howell, all the bend, all the get off, all the edge rushing ability you'd want, but maybe need to stiffen up a little bit in that run stopping rigidity. And it sounds like he did really good in the weight room this offseason. The last check-in, I think he was 250 pounds, 240 playing weight last year. So if he takes that next step in terms of that strength and just inability to be moved, that would be huge for a defensive end that is a lighter outfit than before. And then, of course, he mentioned Marcus Radcliffe. We had several mentions of TK Norman in these pressers today from Marcel and Elko, incoming freshmen with size and speed, and now this additional growth in the offseason. That's really exciting for the future of this receiver room. Of course, it's a young room, so you have years with these guys to work. Great to hear. And Marcus Radcliffe, I think he kind of projects as a strong safety, in the box safety, run stopper. It's great to hear him making these gains. And I heard someone worry about him maybe losing speed there. I would say this about Tommy Moffitt. Anything that is facilitated by Tommy Moffitt will be done the right way. He has too much experience. He's too well decorated. He is too damn good at his job to worry about that. But of course, this stuff happens every offseason. I think it's just real exciting to see it come out of Elko's mouth, and knowing that Tommy Moffitt's the man behind it. Next clip.
Tony Catalina, Austin American Statesman. Coach, you had talked about everyone's ready to go. Just wanted to confirm and be specific with that. Is there anybody who's going to be out first day, or is everyone really good to go for first practice?
No, everybody's really ready to go first practice. Yeah, so we're excited. I think Marcus Garcia is the one kid that's nursing a little something.
When he paused right there, I was just waiting for, I think Le'Veon's going to need a few weeks. This is music to everybody's ears, right? When is the last time you went into a fall camp and that was the injury report? Now, I want to be clear, and I'm sure this is happening. I think guys like Le'Veon will have a ramp up. I'm sure guys even like Amari Daniels will have a ramp up. And we talked about how this running back room, maintaining their health and easing them into this thing is going to be one of the key points of fall camp, while also getting them ready for the season. I think Jerome Miles probably has somewhat of a ramp up, being an incoming freshman and coming off an injury last year. But Mike Elko said everybody's out there tomorrow. Mike Elko said Marcus Garcia is the only one dealing with something right now. This came as a surprise to me because the last update we got from Le'Veon was that midway through fall camp would be his go. Maybe that's full contact. Maybe he's ramping up to be full go by mid-fall camp, but still out there in drills and individual stuff to start camp. This is music to my ears, guys. Holy cow. I mean, when's the last time that happened? I mean, Elko said that there weren't nuggets in this presser. There wasn't any new news, but this was a monster to me. That was great to hear. All right. Moving on to Marcel Reed. Of course, I just want to commend Marcel again for sounding like a coach, sounding like that coach's son that he is, being a great representative of Aggieland every time he takes to the podium. And that's not something we're learning today. We heard it last year as a first-year starter, as a redshirt freshman. Carries himself so well, answers questions so well. And I think he might have a little chip on his shoulder this year. Let's listen.
Nunya from Texags.
Marcel, you just said it, never mind. Talk about your offseason and where you think you've made maybe the most improvements.
Well, I know y'all have also heard it just like I have, not a passer. But, yeah, I feel like I've had, tremendous growth in my passing this offseason. We've had some great receivers come in and, just having the O-line that we have, the running backs that we have, they've made it a lot easier for me to be able to sit back there and make these throws. And, the receivers we have now have made it a lot easier as well to make these throws. And I think I just feel a lot more confident back there, kind of finding ways to protect myself, knowing the offense a little bit better, and just being confident as a quarterback behind the O-line.
I don't know about you guys, but every time I'm doubted with something, it makes me want to go a little bit harder. And I think it's real easy for people just to block out the noise at large and not hear anything. But I think today's day and age, it's really hard to completely do that, especially for a young guy like Marcel, growing up in the social media age, growing up with, a minimized barrier between the outside and the inside. And he brought it up. It was the first thing he said in this press conferences. He's like, you guys have heard it. I've heard it. I'm not a passer. I love that that's on his mind. I love the idea of quarterback one going into fall camp with a chip on his shoulder. Now, fall camp, he might come in maybe a little bit, jolted, a little bit amped. And I think fall camp will probably calm that down. But I think something like that, a storyline like that, knowing the doubters, knowing what they're saying, knowing his shortcomings, could probably fuel an offseason of work. He spoke to the new weapons around and the new players, forming that chemistry. And I think it's a really, really dangerous combo if they can get this offense right. There's a lot Marcel offers a team, but Marcel obviously needs to take another step in his passing game and form chemistry with this new group at receivers. And I think this is just going to fuel him and make him even better. I don't know about you guys. This was really exciting to hear from me. I just love to hear it. And, obviously you have to go on the field and prove it, but it was just really cool to see him just bring it up by himself.
Nunya from Texags.
All right.
Marcel.
Last clip. I'm going to skip the one about the weight. I'll go through that quickly with you guys real quick. He said that he weighs 182 right now, and I think most Aggies were hoping he would get 190 to 200, and that was probably a little bit ambitious. He looks like he's put on some lean weight, and we heard Elko say, and I think it's pretty clear, a guy like Marcel Reed has an insane metabolism. It's hard. He's a slow gainer. He's a lean muscle guy. He's never going to be a thicker quarterback. I think maybe by junior year he could be 190, 195, but if he's 182 now, I think I saw BTTS just talking about this. This guy must have been 170, 175, if not lower deep into the season once you're worn down last season. So just because he's 182 doesn't mean he hasn't put on weight, but it's still something we're going to watch out for, right? It's a smaller quarterback. He's a quarterback that likes to run. He's going to have to slide. He's going to have to run out of bounds, and we're going to be holding our breath every time he takes contact. But the one main comp that everyone throws out for Marcel Reed is Jaden Daniels. And I saw Jaden Daniels get hammered, tattooed, smashed, popped, launched airborne time and time again at LSU, get up from it like nothing happened, and just go in a Heisman afterwards. So there's always luck involved with injury. Now, of course, you wish he was heavier, but we're going to obviously always beg for injury luck. But I think you'll have to just play it smart because That's just the size he is, and that's just what his body wants to do. Now, here's the last clip I'm going to play for you guys. And this is one that I saw a lot of Aggies maybe a little bit nervous about, a little bit up in arms about, especially on Twitter, where that thing tends to happen all the time. Those kind of things tend to happen all the time. It's about the offense and maybe its lack of changes from last year to this year. Let's just play the clip real quick.
Part question, obviously, how comfortable are you in Colin Klein's offense, and just how collaborative has it been to build it around you and your strengths?
Yeah, I'm really comfortable. I mean, I was comfortable last year. We haven't done too much to change it. Just what kind of the talent we have receiver-wise, we've altered a couple of routes, but there hasn't been too many changes in the offense. But really comfortable in it. I've kind of built some continuity with these receivers and the running backs just based off of routes we have, and it's good that we had a whole spring this year to do it after a little kind of a foundation year last year. But yeah, we're really excited going into year 2 with this offense. It's going to be very explosive, like we've said before, and there's going to be a lot of points scored.
And I hear it initially, and I hear the complaints, and I hear the fears, and I hear the worries. But you have to remember where he's coming from last year. This was an offense that was built on the fly, shifting from Connor Wegman to Marcel Reed. And that was also a year 1 offense. You have your base packages, you install week on week, and the offense expands week on week. And that expansion had a hold up when you went from, the pocket passer that was Connor Wegman to the mobile quarterback that was Marcel Reed. So things had to change a lot midseason. You had to throw out a lot of the Connor Wegman stuff, maybe simplify some of the passing stuff for your backup quarterback who hasn't seen all the reps that your starter has, that the junior that was Connor Wegman has seen, that also suited his play style a lot better. So you maybe saw a little bit more vanilla version of what the offense could be around Marcel Reed. But I would argue that you saw that offense expand quite significantly in the Auburn game. Of course, we know Marcel Reed wasn't the reason you lost that game. It was defensive shortcomings. It was bus and bus and bus given up to Coleman and others on Auburn. It was letting Peyton Thorne escape the pocket on a last minute touchdown to tie the game or field goal, whatever it was. And then in that bowl game, when you had weeks to practice, weeks to install, weeks to mold this thing further to Marcel Reed, in the bowl game, I would argue it was the best the offense had looked in terms of play calling. All of this without your best offensive player, your core identity piece, and Le'Veon Moss. This thing will naturally expand in a year 2. You're going to naturally have a quarterback that's more comfortable within that offense. You're going to naturally install week on week. They're going to, hammer in the base stuff early fall camp. But come game prep time, come time to prep for Notre Dame, come time to prep for every big game, this offense will expand over time. And you have to remember, you're listening to this through the quarterback's lens. This is not through the offensive coordinator's lens. The quarterback is being fed things, little by little at a time, as he needs to install, as he needs to learn things. Colin Klein has the big picture. Things will change, things will expand, but more so, I think we're excited about the comfort level in a year 2 and the addition of all the weapons you've added around him, like a Casey Concepcion, a Mario Craver, a Terry Bussey getting into year 2, a Jerome Miles. All that stuff is going to add to this offense, and not to mention the offensive line, bringing everybody back, and the running back room, now apparently healthy, bringing everybody back. And this offense, as surprising as the metric was the leading points per game offense in the SEC. And that's just wild to think about. I know there's extenuating circumstances that led to that. The blowout versus Missouri, the high scoring game versus LSU, the overtime shootout versus Auburn, and you didn't put up an offensive point versus Texas. That's all part of it. But this offense, when it was healthy, when it had Le'Veon Moss, when it was just gashing and, just blowing holes through defensive fronts, getting big chunk gains on the ground, this offense was fine before Le'Veon went down. And things changed a lot when you lose your best player. So I wouldn't be too up in arms about this, guys. And I will acknowledge this. You have to be better than you were in the Texas game. That was by far the worst offensive play calling, quarterback, and overall offensive game that A&M had in 2024. And you have to be fair. Texas had an elite defense. It was definitely a top 5 defense last year. They're going to be in that realm next year again. but you have to be better than you were in that game. And it's really weird because the games before and after it were, in my opinion, Colin Klein's best games. You know, they got the RPOs going. They got the short game going. They got the end arounds going. And this was all playing around missing your best player. They got Jabri Barber in the short game in space. They got Terry Bussey going sideline to sideline. They were targeting mismatches in Noah Thomas. And now we assume Amari Niblack or a Jerome Miles might fill that role this year. This thing adapted. You just didn't get the results you wanted, so you don't get to really soak that in. And I'm not worried about this offense evolving and getting better in a year 2 of a system. But all right, guys, those are the clips we went through. I'm going to go ahead and go through chat real quick. If anybody wants to get on the phone lines, they're open right now. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. Click it. You'll be prompted to enter a waiting room. It's super easy. Just activate your mic and get in there, and I'll pull you guys in one by one. We got Cooper King in there. He's the only one waiting right now. And I'll go as long as we have callers waiting. If not, we'll call the show. I am going to Fuego, by the way, after this stream. So don't tempt me. I'll get off. No, I'm just kidding. I'll go as long as we need to. Rylan Kennedy emerges as an elite pass rusher. Dude, I'm going to do a second round of breakout players in the coming weeks going into the season. And I think I got to throw Rylan Kennedy on there. I'm going to throw like players to watch out there. I don't know if they're players that are going to dominate, you know, play to play, down to down. But I think these are guys that can emerge, and I'm putting Rylan Kennedy on that list for sure. Running back room, run. Healthy running back room. BTTS, I saw this in the corner of my eye. Marcel's probably 170 last year. Yeah, dude, he's gained weight. It's just not the grand total we hoped it would be. And he's have to play it safe. That's a fact, but he has gained weight. I can't wait to see these receivers go to work. Dude, it's going to be so fun. KC in the short game. Craver with his speed. Bussy in year 2. Jerome Miles in his social media stuff. Go look at his Instagram, man. He's looking big and agile. It's really exciting. But, of course, those are just workouts. You got to see it on the field. D-line or secondary is my biggest worry. I don't know if I'm worried. I see so many veterans in this secondary, and of course they just have to play better. But the last iteration we saw of that secondary, you were down your 2 best defenders in Tyreek Chappelle, who was out most of the year, to be fair, and then Will Lee, who missed that bowl game. And, of course, Des Ricks was just on an island as a young dude defending the lead receiver of a Lincoln Riley defense. And, of course, he struggled all year. But this year he has Julio Humphrey next to him to push him, contend for playing time, split reps with him. The floor is raised there, and I'm really feeling good about their improvement. But to what end? That could determine the fate of the year, especially with these road games, and especially with some of the quarterbacks you face this year. Marcel might have actually been less than 170 last year, considering he's listed at 175 on ESPN. You always got to subtract 5 to 10 from that. Same goes for height. Yeah, and then in the football season, anybody who played can speak to this. Your weight drops. Like, you can start the season 270 and then end the season like 258, 255. It's just, you just sweat it out. You're burning more than you can gain. We're winning 10 games and making the playoffs. Amen, brother. Amen, Sean. The team should be better coached under year 2. Elko, I 100% agree. TK Norman's kind of my dark horse on the offense. Wouldn't be surprised if he got playing time later in the season. It's possible. A lot of guys in that room, but, you know, I would say outside of like the top 3 or 4, a lot of room to gain for guys to find playing time in that receiver room. A lot of kind of open-endedness beyond your top 3. Craver, Bussy, Jerome Miles are my predicted starters. Yeah, I could see Jerome Miles doing it. I could see Colin Klein wanting to get that big body out there. I could see it being Jerome Miles. I could even see it being ABR, because you remember ABR was the next man in last year. He was just one man away from regular rotation. Every time someone went down, there was ABR in there. And, of course, you got to give Isaiah Williams some credit for how he looked in that spring. TK looked decent in the spring game. Aaron Gregory might get playing time as a freshman next year. Maybe. We'll see. Bethel, yeah, he for sure will. What's up, Gavin? Good to see you, man. Dalen Evans is a super interesting DT. Yeah, man, I brought this up on socials. I brought this up on the video yesterday. Dalen Evans up to 310 pounds, man. He's gaining weight. And if that weight was put on the right way and he can keep some of his agility, I think he's a contender for that 4th spot in that rotation of DTs. And I really think with how much kind of uncertainty you have at the back end of that rotation, your top 3 is set in stone with DJ Hicks, Tyler Onyeta, and Albert Regis. But beyond that, I'd like to see them go pretty deep in that rotation just to get guys reps until that thing maybe gets hammered in and funneled down later in the year. But let's get people some reps, man. Wide receiver core looks good. Just depth is extremely young and inexperienced. That's the deal. It's just young. It's young. KC will lead him. Yeah, and I think he's ready to lead. Everything we've heard, he's been a leader in the weight room, a leader in training, a leader in spring. Oh, who else is saying things? I see a lot of Jeb. Bevo's bodyguard says Bevo needs a muzzle. Interesting for you to go at your own mascot like that. He's going to be slinging that ball. Let the haters hate. Marcel looks way taller. Maybe he gained some height. Not as much weight. It all just went to height. Jaden Daniels bulked up. Yeah, the Jaden Daniels comp is a good one for the size and running ability and the ability to take damage. That's the comp right there. And we're not saying Marcel's a Heisman. We're not doing any of that, but it's a perfect size comp. Marcel does a good job of avoiding the big hit. Lamar is my comp there. That would be, I mean, if he hits any of that, that's insane. Lamar played at 180 in college, barely at 200 now in the NFL. Please never mention that Auburn game again. Dude, I made myself watch it on a flight this year. I had to see it. It was brutal. Now, Marcel Reed talked about this in the presser, and it did happen. He did drop a snap in a drive where we could have milked the clock out, at least down to maybe under a minute, and really put that game on ice. Can't happen again. A lot of busts, Jake. Quite frankly, Reed might be a better passer than Lamar was. Lamar was just different running with the ball. I don't know, man. That Lamar junior year was insane. He could do everything. He could do everything, though. It was like, if you get Kellen Mond passing with Lamar Jackson running, you have Lamar Jackson. That's really good. The throwing on the run, the arm strength on the run was insane for Lamar. I'm not putting that on Marcel. I'm not putting that on Marcel right now. Y'all are really taking some of these things that I say. All right. I'm going to finish out this chat, then we'll get right into the calls. I have Cooper King and Noble Guy waiting. Sips will be in shambles if Arch is worse than Quinn, and I'll be geeked. I don't think Arch will be worse than Quinn. There might be a ramp up to Arch. There might be a few weeks where it takes him to get going, but I think Arch will be better than Quinn, man. The amount of pressure that media's putting on Arch is insane. I will say Arch carries himself well, but we'll see what's happening internally. You'll see that very early in the season. They have some tough games early at Ohio State, at Florida. But, I mean, I think Texas is going to be fine. I think that defense is going to be able to carry them in a lot of those games as Arch gets things going. I'm going to be high on Texas this year. I'm going to brace for the worst, guys. I'm just going to do it. Marcel's going to have much better production with better tools, O-line, full running back room, and great weapons. 100%. I mean, there's a lot on Marcel's shoulders this year, but he has pieces around him to lift him up and help him out, and the O-line is the main piece of that. But you also have the running backs. You also have the new receivers. It could be a really, really good offense, y'all. We just got to put it together. All right. I'm always craving Fuego. I haven't been in like 3 weeks, dude. I'm so due for Fuego. Jordan Lockhart is linebacker 3 by the end of the year. I wouldn't rule it out. I do like Damian Sanford and all his experience and his speed, though. But I want to see the back end of that linebacker rotation get rotated a lot. I want to see him and Jernigan, Lockhart and Jernigan, get a lot of reps this year. But also Sanford, man. He's been around. I could see him really stepping up this year. D-line and secondary is my biggest concern. Yeah, concern more than worry. I like that. I like that, Troy. What's up, John Peroni? Good to see you. We need younger guys to get reps the first 2 games. I'm so with you, Cooper. I want to see them go deep into that D tackle rotation early in the first 2 games. UTSA could be somewhat competitive early in that game. I still want to see young guys playing. I made myself watch the USC game, and I was so pissed at the defensive meltdown. Dude, when Marcel Reed was just like euphoric after that go-ahead touchdown, it didn't work out. Brutal. Fat Cheddar, what's up, Drew? Starting to feel like a kid before Christmas again with Aggie football approaching. Dude, I felt like a kid before Christmas before freaking Mike Elko talked at the podium today. I'm so ready, man. It feels so good not to have those big fall camp concerns. It's so different. It's so nice. And it doesn't mean that you're like, it doesn't mean you're a playoff. It doesn't mean anything. You just have that security and that excitement from day one. It's so good. Am I a Bateman believer? Am I a Bate lever? I wasn't thrilled with him with the way the defense went down last year, and I'm glad they kind of retooled the defense, and that's a talking point. That's something to watch for, is how Elko handles the more hands-on approach with the defense. I am a Bateman believer in regards to recruiting and player relations, though. That seems to be really strong with Bateman. Kellen was a pretty underrated runner. A lot of long runs at A&M. I don't think he ran enough at A&M, but he was timely with him. There was some good stuff. Think about the bowl game versus NC State. I think he had like an 80-yard touchdown there. He may need to play like Johnny did his freshman year. Sanford had moments last year, just looks thin. Dude, that should be changed this year. Like I said, 2 years of Tommy Moffitt compounding. 2 off seasons of Tommy Moffitt compounding counts for something. It's almost August. We are days away, y'all. We are days away. We will see coaches tend to hide injuries. You won't know much until week 1. Yeah, to say there are absolutely no injuries is surprising. But I don't think you just say there's absolutely nothing if you don't at least feel good about the guys who are banged up. I don't think you say that. So I feel good about it regardless. If Arch isn't a Heisman winner / national champion, Texas fans will consider him a bust. I don't know about that. I think there's some reasonable ones out there, but I think there are some that would feel that way. Kellen also had a 50-yard tutty against Bama in 18. All right, guys, that catches us up with the chat. We'll get right into the calls. Make sure you guys like and sub and stay tuned in the coming weeks. Have some exciting stuff coming up. I'm going to announce it here now before we get into the calls. We got Aggies Today coming on for a couple of shows this weekend. Y'all have followed Jackson and all of his recruiting insider stuff over the years. One of the best young minds, not only in Aggie sports, but in college football. Joined on the On3 very recently. Thrilled for his success, but he'll be joining the channel for a couple position previews. We have Robert Behrens jumping on for a defensive line preview. That should be a lot of fun. Most of y'all know him as the ratio king of Aggie Twitter. He'll be on. And then we have the Matthew Dawson jumping on for a couple of position previews as well. And we also have our first partnership as a channel. We're bringing on Roback. Roback has decided to partner with this channel. So we'll be bringing you some giveaways, Roback merch, and we'll have a discount code to drop very soon. And I couldn't be more thrilled to announce that with you guys here. So the channel is healthy. The channel is thriving. We're going to hit this 3,000 subscriber marker running. We're going to get to 4 and 5K this year. And we're going to keep growing, man. Thank you guys for being here. It's been awesome. Roback is big time, man. I've been a Roback lover for years already. So I was always careful about if we were approached with any kind of partnerships like this, that it had to be like a brand I was really happy to rep. And Roback is one. Y'all saw, I wore that Roback shirt on almost every video the first 2 years of this channel. And I wore that thing into the grave. I worked out in that thing. I still have it. I wear it to work, but it's not, I'm going to get some nice fresh stuff. I'm going to give you guys some stuff. We're going to do some giveaways when we do the 3,000 subscriber special. That should be either the week before or 2 weeks before the season. So we'll be doing Roback giveaways. I have some other giveaways from my own merch store I'm excited to do with you guys. And of course, we'll do the ring dunk then. But also look out for those collabs coming, I think as soon as mid next week. You'll be seeing the Matthew Dawson, the Aggies Today, the Robert Behrens stuff coming very soon. We also have Gabe Bach coming on in a couple of weeks. Be good to hear from Gabe Bach. That stuff will be super exciting. But anyway, let's get right into the calls, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Cooper, how you feeling, man? We got football tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm actually really pumped.
I know, dude.
Can't remember the last time I was actually this pumped about Aggie football, but yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Does it feel a little different, right? Like I feel a little bit more energy and excitement right now just because of what we have back. Do you feel that too?
Yeah, it also feels a little bit safer too. I feel like, especially with what Elko's and all the press that he's done in the offseason, I feel like I feel like the team's in good hands, way more than I did last year in preseason. But
yeah, for sure. And you heard some stuff, behind the scenes stuff. I think Scott Van Pelt even said this. No, it was a show with Scott Van Pelt and the Bear from Stanford Steve from College Game Day, talking about how a lot of the early days of Elko at A&M were about reworking some bad habits, some bad stuff that seeped in late in the last coaching regime. Unfortunately, we saw that thing go south over time. And now we get 2 years of work in that, 2 years of those accountability things that we've heard a lot about. Players having to be where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, players just showing up and giving their full effort. I think that stuff should pay some dividends this year, to your point.
yeah, like especially with Jimbo, like it was just complete, like just crap. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word,
No,
but
yeah.
like, yeah, I just feel like with Moffitt too, and Coach Witt, like the coaching staff as a whole that he recruited around him is really just, I mean, it's just a great all around coaching staff.
Yeah, man. The Tommy Moffitt piece is super exciting. I mean, you could think about Trooper Taylor. You can think about Adam Cushing. I'm really hoping this Jay Bateman and Coach Ish, duo in the secondary can really pay some dividends this year, because those guys were, highly regarded when they came in, but now they have to prove it with this, veteran group at secondary. But speaking of which, what are your biggest fall camp storylines? What are the position groups you're looking at closely? Maybe the coaching dynamics. I know we're feeling more safe this year, but still, we're looking out for things. What's the top of your list?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple big freshmen. I mean, I think Landon Rink emerges. I also think, as you said, like Dalen Evans, because I mean he didn't really see the field much last year. But also, like in regards to the secondary, I think the addition of Lyle Hemphill.
Oh yeah,
That's a big time addition, because he worked with Elko at Duke, and he was at James Madison last year. But yeah, I think he will make a big impact this year in the secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love with this defense how they didn't go and fire people. They didn't go and make crazy shifts. They just retooled a little bit. They knew they had some pieces in place that they liked. They knew that keeping continuity on your team from a year one to year two is such a benefit for a football team, keeping that familiarity. So they just shifted things around a little bit, bring in Lyle Hemphill, give Elko that more hands-on approach. And I think that's a really, really good way to go about things. And of course, I talked about this in the video I dropped yesterday or this morning, that part of this fall camp, I would think, is Elko figuring out how he manages the games. Because we saw Jimbo for years, maybe, look past some overall things with the team, maybe some clock management, maybe some substitution stuff, maybe some special team stuff, maybe just some overall team management stuff that lacked. And I think that's going to be in the forefront for Elko this fall camp as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I feel like he realized that if we have another performance like we do at USC, he's kind of on the hot seat. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I mean, I think a lot of the fans that watched the USC game were like very disappointed in Elko's defense, and I think that what he saw was if that defense continued to play like that, he doesn't really have a job here.
Yeah, he knows that. I mean, just think about how he sounded in that USC presser. He was very, very blunt about that and very, very upfront about what has to change. So that's been on their minds this entire offseason. As I said earlier in this video, I'm sure that's on the minds of these veteran defensive backs like a Bryce Anderson, like a Will Lee, like a Tyreek Chappelle. These guys have to be pissed off about that. And I think that bodes well for them, coming in ready to gear up and just get better this fall camp. So I think just general improvement-wise, you're looking at the secondary. And then I love the guys you brought up. A Landon Rink, I think he definitely can carve out a role for himself this year. Of the 3 incoming defensive tackles, my thought was that he was the guy that had the highest chance of getting early playing time. But, you look at DJ Sanders, and that guy has an SEC body already. So who knows, man? A lot of exciting young pieces. But any closing thoughts today, Cooper? Thanks for being here today.
Not really. Just kind of pumped and glad you're hosting this call-in show.
Thanks for being here, man. You have a good night.
Yes,
I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Later, Cooper. All right. Let's check in with the chat real quick. We'll get right into Noble Guy. No one calling in beyond him. And if that's the last caller, we'll call it a show, and I'll go get my Fuego. I believe Lockhart will get some playing time this year. I think Lockhart and Jernigan both will. I think they're both going to play. Yes, sir, Jeb. We're getting Jackson on. You have been calling it for a while. Jackson is coming on. I'll be recording with him on Saturday. The video will probably drop early next week. I'm super excited about it. If we don't make the playoffs, I hope we get the Pop-Tart Bowl. Pop-Tart or Duke's Mayo. Those are electric. Roback is big time. Sponsorship, always wanted a shirt. Yeah, dude, I'm going to put one of them up for a giveaway. So y'all stay tuned for that Ring Dunk show. It's going to be exciting. John Pro says, thank you, Drew, for all the Aggies talk. Very much appreciated, man. I'm happy to do it. I'm so happy y'all are here to share it with me because that's why I do it. I just think about the stuff way too much. Chris says, Notre Dame will wipe the floor with you, but I respect Elko. Maybe Elko can prevent that. Maybe Elko can prevent the floor being wiped with us, and I think he'll be able to prevent that. But we'll see. Going to your home stadium, going to be tough. Sucks we missed out on the Archie corner that went to Ole Miss. He was silently committed to us. I remember that. Dude, Parzival, where you been? Fall camp's tomorrow, man. We're going to get the video of the players running onto the practice field tomorrow. It's going to be there, and it's going to be epic. Getting Notre Dame may be a good thing for us, honestly. They're breaking a new quarterback that's coming off of an injury. We'll see, man. That's the one good thing about playing them early in the year because that's a program in Notre Dame that just reloads really well under Marcus Freeman. That's their mantra. It's next man up under Marcus Freeman. And now the big test, they're doing it in the quarterback room. They've had a string of transfers the last few years. This year it's going to be homegrown. We'll see how it goes. We're happy with Le'Veon Moss, man. I mean, Jeremiah Love's great. He had a great closeout to the year, man. The playoff with the one leg was just inspirational. But we're real happy with Le'Veon, man. We think he has as much upside as anybody. What game am I going to this year? I don't know yet. I think I'm going to the road Arkansas game. I think that's going to be my big road trip of the year. Because I have friends, our cousins up there I can stay with and save some money. Oh, driven working somewhere. My head's buried in the sand. I'm so sorry, man. But fall camp's tomorrow, man. Look forward to it. Look forward to it. What I have a feeling we beat Notre Dame and lose to someone like Arkansas. Why do I have that same feeling? I don't know, man. I'm going to drop my game-by-game prediction here in a couple of weeks, and I'm thinking along those lines. I'm thinking we're going to win one of the big ones, and then lose when we're not supposed to. That's just how these things go. All right, guys, let's get into the last caller of the night. Noble Guy, fall camp's tomorrow. How you feeling?
What's up, Drew? What's up, Drew? TMU Nation. First of all, shout out 3,000 followers. Roback sponsorship. You got Jackson and you got Gabe Bach. You just dropped all sorts of nuggets on us in like span of 5 minutes.
I know, dude. It's heating up, man. I'm so excited. It's gonna be a crazy couple of weeks for the channel. And it's all gonna end with that ring dunk. So it's like, this is like the time. This is like
It's
the
building.
season. I know. And if we have a great season to follow it up, my goodness, man.
Oh man,
There will be stories.
they don't want to see it. They don't want to see it.
Bevo's bodyguard is in shambles. He hates to see it. He hates to see your man thrive.
Hey, that's how good your work is. That you got some orange bloods in your hanging out in your chat. So that's a compliment to you.
That's true, man. He brings the spice into it. I love to see you guys body him every time he comes in here. It's great to see, and he keeps coming back. So you got to respect that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd ever want to hang out in an opposing team's chat, but props to him for that, I guess. Anyways, let's get to that task at hand. Yeah, A&M football is so back. Like, I've never been so back in my life. I'm excited. I didn't think I'd be so excited for, just fall camp, but it's been building up, and I'm not going to lie, the game's done a good job of hyping me up on this team. And
CFP 26? How fun they are to play. Dude, I know.
So
that's adding to my hype too. Dude, does it feel I'm asking everybody this. Does it feel different this year? Does it feel a little bit more exciting? I mean, I don't know that we're winning 10 games or even 9 games, but it feels a little bit more exciting this fall camp, doesn't it?
We just know a little bit more, and then we know where the issues are concerned. They were definitely addressed, and addressed with quality pieces out of the portal. Now we got to see if they gel, of course, but that's the exciting part about fall camp. Like, what I'm looking forward to most is this passing game connect. Like, I think we already know what we're going to get out of this run game. The O-line's going to do their thing. The running back's going to do their thing. So I want to see, like, how quickly does this passing game take off with Marcel, Concepcion, and everybody else. I'm really excited to see Nyblack. I think Nyblack is interesting because he obviously didn't work out the first 2 stops, but one was at Alabama freshman year and transferred to Texas, and he just got stuck behind a really good tight end over there, and a gunner.
Yeah.
So I think he's got all the attributes to be that big body target that we need, that because we went and I think speed is more important than size at this point. Maybe I'm definitely a little biased in saying that. But I remember last year thinking like, hey guys, how are we going to get separation of the receivers? Oh, don't worry. Connor will throw us away to every completion. And that always didn't pan out. But now, we got some real weapons. Haven't seen that in a long time here.
I know, man. It's so exciting. And the biggest piece with this offense in fall camp, like you're saying, is just figuring out how everything slots in. Figuring out your go-to players and the go-to scenarios and the go-to plays in your playbook. Figuring out your red zone packages. Figuring out how to get 1 yard on 4th down, 3rd down, 2nd down. Getting that, finding the inches. We got to find the inches. I'm so sorry.
I mean, they were think about, we were inches away a couple different times from going to an SEC championship. Like, yes, end of the year 8-4, but that still resulted in us just being literally inches away from going to the SEC championship, which is more than many previous coaches have done in their previous stop here. So excited to see that us take that next step. I think from what I could tell, the team has a lot of veterans on this team, so they got a certain maturity about them.
So many seniors, so many upperclassmen, so many guys that have seen a lot of playing time. Yeah. It's not something we've seen maybe since 2020 overall.
Indeed.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. It feels like A&M every once in a while has this, this moment where everything kind of coalesces every 10 years on average.
Yeah.
So 2012, 98, maybe it could be 2025 now. Again, where everything just kind of all the stars align. And so obviously we got a tough schedule ahead of us. I will say, I don't know how there have been certain people who've already put out predictions for the season when we haven't had any fall camp reports on anything. So the people who already put out predictions like that, I think, certain team's going to go certain, like 8-4 or whatever there is. It's like it's like you haven't heard, like it could be worse than that, it could be better than that. You got to hear what the players are doing in camp, I think, before you make those
You
predictions.
got to get the injury updates, and guys, we're holding our breath, we're praying, we're clinched, no injuries. I don't want to see that update. I don't want to see that devastating injury. We've had one every fall camp, knock on wood. Doesn't happen again. Doesn't happen again. And that's at the forefront of this team. They know that. Elko talked about it in the presser today. We're looking to get that injury luck this year. Let it be on our side this year. Noble, how you feeling about the defense? What are the main stress points in this fall camp? I mean, I think it starts with the secondary, but just give us a couple areas you're looking at on that defense.
Yeah, I need to see the run fits to take. I think the secondary just has to take a step forward by nature of the fact that we were just so bad last year. So I know with Elko's attention towards it, I think it'll get better. So I want to make sure the run fits are there, because it took us some time to figure that out early on last season.
Yep.
I think having a whole year will help. But I remember, and I watched the USC game, there were moments where, we are absolutely blowing up the gaps and, filling everything. But other times that somehow we got, I don't know, being blown off the line is the right term, but it felt like they were gashing us at times too. And so I don't know how it's going to show its head during fall camp, but I'd like to, whatever it needs to be so they're consistent during the season, especially early on. And the fact we have two, relatively speaking anyways, warm-up games to start the season is going to be great before we go on the road to Notre Dame. And that's going to be important when we go up against Jeremiah Love.
Yep. And I remember, I'm trying to kind of think about it coming off of last year. You just said early in the year you kind of struggle with run fits. You kind of struggle with setting the edge. Think about Jadarian Price in that early game. Think about some stuff that even Bowling Green did to us early in the game. And I think some of that stuff improved over the course of the year, but the thing that came up later in the year was being in the right position, but just not freaking tackling. I mean,
yes,
Quinn Ewers escaping the pocket for a 40-yard gain. Freaking Lenora Sellers, just bodying us. Freaking Peyton Thorne escaping the pocket out of what should be blitzes. Mm-hmm. So I think you shored up some of the schematics and the tech and the assignments, but then the tackling just sucked. So I'm looking at tackling, and that's really hard to drill when you're trying to stay healthy.
I think yes.
So that has to, it's a mentality. It's getting it right early in the season. It's keeping it in the forefront of your mind, and it's again finishing the season and finishing strong.
My guess is that at some early it was a rolling door of problems. And the first part of the season was maybe they were only thinking about tackling, and so they weren't in the right place. And then towards the other part of the season, back half of the season, they were thinking about all right, now they would just think. Where do I need to be? Where do I need to be? Where do I need to be? And they forgot.
You're cutting it out a little bit, but yeah, man. And look, the D-line has to be solid to help this, what I think is a really freaking good linebacker duo out. The D-line has to hold their own. The D-line has to be disruptive. The D-line has to occupy blockers and not let blockers get to that second level so quickly. Because I think if this D-line is able to hold their own, and that's a question mark about this team, the internal rigidity of your run-stop defense in the tackle position, that has to hold its own for Torin York and Scooby to do their thing. But I also think that the run support could be improved in the secondary this year, specifically from the safety, because I really like Dalton Brooks in the run game. Yes. I really like Marcus Ratcliffe in the run game. Now, Bryce Anderson had a down year last year. Wasn't good in the run game, wasn't good at tackling. He has to be a lot better. But he was good at that stuff as an underclassman. So I think if the D-line holds their own, there is reason to believe that those fits can be much improved this year from the rip. But you also, the tackling thing, man, that just has to happen. All right, Noble. All right, Noble. I think I'm losing you here.
Oh.
I got you now.
Okay. Oh, can you?
Yeah, give me your closing thoughts. I think you're.
I was
gonna
say when it comes to safety, obviously. Oh shoot! Is that? Let me see if I can. Is that any better at all?
I got you right now. Just give me kind of your finishing thoughts. You can end with the safeties and a final thought because you're kind of cutting in and out a lot.
Yeah. We have some depth at safety, so obviously, Bryce Anderson paying out is plan A. I think he needs just to reset. I guess going back to safety was harder than we anticipated because he definitely got stuck somewhere between trying to, think where he needs to be and then couldn't wrap up at the same time. So hopefully this is the offseason able to him reset. And then, but I keep hearing about, I can't remember his name, but there's a safety depth some depth at safety. I can't remember his name.
Miles Davis.
That everyone's
no,
talking about. And
what's his
Miles
name?
Davis.
Yeah, is that his name? Miles Davis? Yeah. I blank on names.
I think
all the
so.
time.
Yes. But yeah, curious to see how that pans out, and fingers crossed that him and everybody else, really, develops and stays healthy throughout this whole season, or well, fall camp first.
First and foremost, man, get through it healthy. That's winning the game. But all right, Noble, appreciate you being here. Appreciate the shouts out early in the conversation. We'll talk real soon, man.
Yeah, can't wait for that rollback code to drop.
Yeah, dude. Next video, it'll be out. I'll have the merch
All
to
right,
show you guys.
I'll
We'll
stay
give some
tuned.
stuff away. Heck yeah, man. Have a good one. Later, Noble.
You too.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap up the show. Any further questions in the chat, we'll go through those real quick before we get out of here for the day. Thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure you drop a like on the way out. I rewatched the SC versus Clemson game last year. They also struggled to get Sellers on the ground. Dude, he's a hoss. He's a beast. He's going to be one of the best individual players in the country. Now, South Carolina replacing so much around him. They bring back their two best players, no doubt about it, Lenora Sellers and Dylan Stewart. But that D-line, that secondary, a lot of their offensive weapons outside of Sellers, all gone, retooled this year. All new specialists for South Carolina, too. So that's a very big work in progress. We'll have to see. But they have that quarterback you want. Joe Long, good to see you, my man. I think our tight end group is sneaky underrated. They have to prove it. I think it could be a swing piece for this team. It could be mid again, but it also has a lot of upside. So we'll see what happens, man. There's a very big fall camp for that tight end group. What up, Aaron? Good to see you. Appreciate the compliment on the hat. I actually love this hat. I don't wear it enough. But thanks for being here, man. We're about to wrap the show up, but you can always check out that replay. Went through a lot of stuff today. Lit Sparks, howdy, Drew. Great job on the videos lately. Glad a lot of folks from other team appreciate your work. Yeah, man, I'm actually having a lot of fun breaking down the opposition this year, talking Notre Dame, talking LSU. I might drop a sneaky Notre Dame, keep up with them over the year. Drop a sneaky LSU one, especially leading into our game, because I think people were enjoying those, and I enjoyed talking and kind of keeping up with the landscape outside of A&M. Green went to LSU. If healthy, he could be really good, but some guys don't recover fast. Happened to Baylor Cup in 2019. Yeah, man, he couldn't recover in 2 years. I hate it for the guy. He's a really good dude. And he speaks highly of A&M still now at LSU. NCAA on Thursday? Possibly. Very good chance I play NCAA late on Thursday. That's the target right now. And I've played a lot of good quarterbacks this year. Yep. Lagway, if he's healthy. Sellers, Arch, Nuss. It's a great quarterback opposition this year. It's really going to test the secondary. Yeah, they lost a lot of that. Texas Taurus. South Carolina's a big question mark to me. Then they have that quarterback that can win them any game, any given time. But they lose Rocket Sanders. They lose that big tight end they were using. They lose a lot of that defensive front outside of Dylan Stewart. They lose some secondary pieces. Dindy starting for SC. That's very interesting. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, look out for my collabs coming up with Aggies Today Jackson, with Robert Behrens, with Matthew Dawson of the Redshirt Sophomore and Texags. And, of course, Gabe Bach. I'm really excited to catch up with Gabe, man. He was the voice of A&M and Texags for me when I was really getting into A&M hardcore, kind of late 20-teens, early 2020s. And I'm excited to catch up with him later, a couple weeks down the road. And, of course, look out for that Roback stuff. We're going to do a giveaway with Roback. We're going to have the discount code with Roback. See a lot of Roback on this channel going forward. I'm thrilled to have them on board because I love that brand. It's good stuff. But, all right, guys, y'all take it easy. You'll have a good night. Gig 'em.